Wow, qué raro, eh?
What was that?
No sé.
Raro.
I don't know. Espera.
Wow.
Ooh, spooky, scary. De todas formas, in any case,
In any case.
the last house in the development was called Mink Lane. And it was half a street. The last street, I'm sorry. And it was half a street. Basically, it was like one side of the street that was normal. And it was right at the edge of the woods. So the other side of the street was just a black wall of forest. You know?
Yeah.
And we trick-treated up the street. And since there was no other side of the street when we were finished, we just came walking back, you know? So we're walking back, and we see Mr. Lafayama waiting for us.
Yeah.
But he's not in the car anymore. He's gotten out of the car. He's standing outside the car. And he's opened the trunk of the car.
Whoa.
And we get down there and he says, put the bags of candy in the trunk.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay. A little bit weird, but okay. So we put all our bags of candy in the trunk of the car. He closes the trunk. And he says, get in the car. So we all start to get in the car. I go around to my side. I'm going through the door. And just as I'm approaching the door to the car, I see there, on the handle, a bloody hook. No, there's no bloody hook. It's another story. It's another story.
Another story.
We get in the car. The guy pulls out. He starts to go off onto this dirt road, which kind of goes into the woods. But ultimately, goes around and goes up alongside the subdivision back to this kind of main road. And across the main road, there's a Cumberland Farms, which is a kind of like a convenience store, Ultramarino, 7-Eleven kind of place, you know. We go into the parking lot, and we park, and he tells everybody out of the car. So we get out of the car. At this point, it's a good thing he wasn't going to kill us, because in terms of like resourcefulness, we weren't exactly the kid from E.T. You know what I mean?
Tom Sawyer.
We weren't Tom Sawyer. You know what I mean? Like, here, get into the car. Yes, Mr. Lafayama. Everybody out of the car. Yes, Mr. Lafayama. We get out of the car. He herds us into the Cumberland Farms. As always, near the cash register, there's a rack of candy. You know, where they keep the candy, you know? And we're standing there, and Mr. Lafayama says, take whatever you want. Well, I don't know what that means. You know, he's like, no, take whatever you want. Take whatever candy you want from here, as much as you want. You know, if somebody like took one or something, he's like, no, take a lot of it. Take all of it. Take as much. Take anything you want. You know. We start taking the candy from the rack. It's the quality candy, the full size Three Musketeers, the full size Snickers, Mounds, etc. You know. And we're putting it up on the counter. Whenever somebody would tentatively take a candy bar from a box, Mr. Lafayama would like grab the box and like turn it upside down on the counter, you know, and dump it out, you know. It's like good and fruity and good and plenty and Twizzlers and like all the good stuff, you know. And the woman's like ringing it up, you know, as it's all piling up there on the counter and looking at Mr. Lafayama like he's crazy, you know. Finally, we've all got a big paper shopping bag of candy, which is physically heavy, you know. Mr. Lafayama pays for it in cash, you know. He herds us all back outside. We get into his car. He takes us back to the street, to home, basically, you know. We pull into his driveway, and I don't even know if anybody really asked him about the candy in the trunk. You know, I don't know if somebody asked him or it was just basically understood that the candy in the trunk was his. Enough said. You know, like, you're not getting it, it's mine, you know? So we all went home. You know, I took my big bag of candy back to my house, going like, Mom, you never believe what happened. Mr. Lafayama, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. They tell her the whole story, you know? She doesn't make much of it, you know? In fact, you know, there's this process where the parents, like, spread the candy out on the dining room table or the kitchen table and, like, investigated, you know, like, went through it to make sure there was nothing suspicious,
Yeah.
you know? And she didn't have to do it because it was all store-bought, you know? And that's it, basically. You know, over the course of the next couple of days or week, we ate the days, realistically.
Days.
You know, we ate all the candy. And it wasn't until like years later or something, when we were much older, that we found out. I don't know if like my parents actually told me, or if it was just a thing you heard around the neighborhood or something. You know, that like the Rafiamas had a daughter who had been poisoned by somebody on Halloween and had died.